Please welcome him as he comes.
Now, Ms. Jackie said brief remarks, but when I was asked by the president, she didn't give me a timeline, so she just changed it on me. So you gotta forgive me. That's what I'm talking about. Yes. They're all my best customers. Some people dispute that. But Your Excellency, Dame Cynthia Malaprat, Governor General of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, Mr. Bacchus Roll, the Honorable Michael Pintard, Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Paul Bevins, Chairman of LPIA, Mr. Jack Thompson, Office of the Governor General, Honorable Mr. Talia Johnson, Honorable Mr. Tommy Tanquest, Mr. Renwood Wells, Mr. Lightburn, Straw Market Authority, Ms. Carolyn Lightburn, I got Carolyn Bull, sorry, Managing Director of the Straw Market Authority, Ms. Celestine Enius, President of the Straw Vendors Association, Ms. Rebecca Small. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, honored straw vendors, good morning. I'm honored and humbled to bring remarks on this grand occasion. It's a real privilege for me that I don't take lightly. Mrs. Enius, Madam President, again, thank you for this opportunity. However, we give highest praise to Almighty God, the maker of heaven and earth. I've captioned my brief remarks, "Here's to the Pioneer Lady." A pioneer is defined as a person who does something for the first time, a trailblazer. Ralph Waldo Emerson, when speaking about a pioneer, said, "Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail." Ladies and gentlemen, that's a pioneer. Our pioneers opened the door for us to earn a good standard of living in this straw market. These pioneers created a straw market and made a pathway where there was none. And they have not only left a trail, but they have left a highway and a vehicle by which we can forge ahead. The pioneers were courageous, determined women who wanted more than for their families. It's amazing when you consider how this work began during a time when women were not supposed to be in the forefront, let alone engage in business. This was a time when women could not vote, and blacks were forbidden from going certain places in this country. And it is here that you find these women pioneers on Bay Street, opening a road where there was none, selling their straw products on Bay Street. These female Amazons marched and walked in the struggle for majority rule. These women went beyond the bonds of the straw market and formed alliances with the government of the day. Whenever there was a challenge facing straw vendors, Linden was only steps away at the Churchill building. We all know that. Remember the talk about relocating the straw market from Bay Street? Well, that was not in God's will or the people's will. Somebody might ask, what is the impact of the straw vendors? Just a few. Mrs. Merlis Thompson, mother of the Honorable Sir Orville Tanquest, grandmother of the Honorable Tommy Tanquest. Mrs. Della Wilson, mother of Sir Franklin Wilson, business tycoon and one of the first black chartered accountants in this country. Mrs. Merlene Lightburn, mother of Mr. Ishmael Lightburn, another black chartered accountant. Mother Hyphram and her daughters, Miss Kathleen Scribbins Gibson, who produced many professionals, including Rory and Gregory, both engineers, Tony a lawyer, and professional daughters. Mrs. Pearl Macmillan, mother of Dr. Curtis Macmillan, who was a member of Parliament and a cabinet of the first majority rule government. Mrs. Muriel Roker, who kept a suit in the market and sent all her daughters to school. Well, what about Bertha, who also kept a suit? Daisy Raming, mother of His Excellency Dr. Elliston Raming, Bahamas Ambassador to Cuba and formerly the Americas. And we know our very own Senator Talita Strawn, mother of the Honorable Melanie Griffin. My wife's uncle and aunt, Vincent and Olga Dorset, they had 19 children, and the majority of them are either doctors or lawyers. That's the work of the pioneers of the straw market. They blazed the trail. I can remember in the old market, Mrs. Orva sitting right over there, selling her gum and candy and her cigarettes and her boisterous laugh from the belly. Well, I remember Miss Joyce Roberts, whose stall was somewhere right about here, who was always smiling and had a flower in her hair. What a great businesswoman. Miss Joyce always paid me with a smile. The money was always ready. The same is true for Miss Brahilda Williams, who was on Bay Street, right at the front of the market. Miss Brahilda had a few daughters. Toya was her favorite. But all of her girls, she raised them to be professionals. And poor Mr. Berkey, he was just quiet and sat waiting to collect her in the afternoon. But Miss Brahilda would go in her bosom as I came, or wherever the money was, and without hesitation, she paid me in a loving way. Then we think of, or I think of, Miss Beryl Wright, who passed recently, my favorite customer. Miss Brenda Ferguson and Mama Netta, they were my very first customers in this straw market. I had to walk from the back of the market to reach the front of the market before I made my first sale. And to them, I'm eternally grateful. Moses, your mother was a sweet lady. There are some people along our journey of success that we will never pay the right or the amount of tribute that they deserve. But we can pay tribute in the things that we do. Does anybody out here remember the Emerald Seas, the Flavia, the Bahama Star, the Rotterdam, the Oceanic, or the Monarch Sun? The Sunwood, yes. In those days, we bought from wholesalers like Mr. Lowe, Mr. Key, Solomon's. Mr. Neely was the only black man in that crew. Island Merchants, or in Miami there was Innisfree, Capelli, Patty Originals, Marcus, and Denora's, an American Gift. Well, think about it. Remember going on the dock and putting your plastic down? Only to find when you got there that somebody had moved your plastic. That's right. And you dare not touch them, especially those 7-way dress people. But what about who can remember, even when it rained as it rained today, what do we have to do? We have to cover up the plastic. God has brought us a mighty long way. Now, even back then, there was no sanitation facilities for us on the dock. And I say that so that current vendors can appreciate the struggle of where we came from. Remember that sewing machine with the pedal? And you're up all night stitching bags to come to the market the next day? Now, if you can't work chicken toast, sunflower, or open raffia, you're not a straw vendor. You're a traitor, but we love you all the same. All right, so we know that Platt came from Exuma, Long Island. In fact, Long Island had some of the best Platt, and Cat Island, made up primarily of Cat Island and Exuma people. Yes. Also, we got Fana from Andros, and we got Sisal from Eleuthera. Do you remember those family and friends who looked down on us as straw vendors? And at the same time, because Can I borrow something? In fact, I had one person say to me one time, you're not ashamed coming from Miami with those big bags? I said, no. It's a way of life. My mother always taught us there's nothing like honest living. But here's to those ladies, the pioneers who sacrificed and paved the way for each one of us to have a better life. After school, this straw market, BAIS, Bahamas Association of Independent Schools, can hold a conference right here in the straw market. Why? Because Bahamians, straw vendors, most of us sent our children to private schools. Where has that gone? They invested in us. And that's why I could call that list that I called before. And you have products of the straw market, doctors, nurses, lawyers, magistrates, engineers, pilots, bankers, entrepreneurs, and the list goes on and on. Here's to the pioneer ladies. Well, you know, don't worry about that. Rain is a blessing. And guess what? Yeah, thank you. Rain is a blessing. And as straw vendors, we have had to be resilient, think on our feet, and we have had to adapt and adjust to different circumstances. That's the impact of our straw vendors. Now I got to get back to my text. I can remember, yes, Pastor. All right, Matthew said the rain is coming, so I'm going to hasten on. But I'm sure each one of us has our own story about the straw market. My story started with Evangeline Roll, a tall lady who invited my mother in the 1950s to become a straw vendor when she was having children. And my mother hesitated. And Evangeline, Sister Evangeline, her store was straight down here to the end of this road, right on Parliament Street, where the edge of the market was. Well, in the 1970s, Miss Lita Ferguson Daxon, our neighbor in Sunshine Park, she again invited my mother to the straw market. And that time, Mommy didn't refuse. And the straw market was pivotal in our existence. It changed the life of our family. You see, the straw market provided the resources we needed. And my mother was able to send all of her children to university. On the other side, my father and mother-in-law, Mr. Haynes and Mrs. Patricia Dorset, they were some great people. In fact, they provided me with the smartest woman I know. She's intelligent, beautiful, talented. I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. She's a gem, and I am honored to call her my wife. You know, they taught us the value of $1 and how to take $1, save 50 cents, how to invest, and they also taught us benevolence, how to give. Friends, that's what the straw market has done for us. Because of these pioneer ladies, God called us to a new dimension. And that was, we recognized that our people were going to Miami and going elsewhere and purchasing goods. And we saw a need. And so we sought to fulfill that need in our own wholesale business in 1991. And I want to thank all of you because of your generosity, your benevolence, because of the grace of God, we survived. Especially in a climate when they feel that black people can't run business. That's not a small feat. And so God has blessed us, and you will see greater things from us. But the main thing I want to say to you as I wrap up is, what do you think our pioneers would say to us today? Well, first of all, straw vendors of old, those pioneers believed in God. And like Lydia in the Bible, and that's a powerful story, and I can't unwrap all of that to you today. But Lydia was a seller of purple, a successful woman. And I liken our current straw vendors to Lydia. They made sound investments. That's what Lydia did. And I would skip right down to people like Mrs. Diana Thompson. And I had a great relationship with her. But when you saw Andai, as we called her, you saw her with two things: her Bible in one hand and her newspaper in the other. Andai raised all of those girls. Miss Silk, stand up, please. Yeah. That's her mother. And Andai was, yes. Okay. But she had several girls. But Andai was a strong woman. Andai was a strong PLP. Unwavering. All right? Unflinching all the way. Yes. I said they were part of the struggle. But Andai she wasn't just a straw vendor. She had houses on rent. Don't tell nobody. She had property. Okay? She taught her girls how to be industrious. Andai had a twin. You know who her twin was? Miss Sutherland. Yes. That's right. Miss Sutherland and Andai, they were two peas in a pod, and both of them, you could see them every day at the front of the old straw market with their newspaper and Bible in hand. Andai had property in Nassau, in Turks and Caicos. She had houses. Everything you could name, that's Andai. And where did she get it? They didn't steal. They traded right here in the straw market. I hear the pioneers saying, we struggle so that you could have a better life. They're saying, take up your basket and smile with the tourists and make that sale. They're saying, give your children a better opportunity than you had. Send them to school and university like we did for you. Somebody I hear saying, it's up to you. Go buy some land, build a house, build an apartment, put a roof over your head. I hear someone say, love your enemies and pray for them. I hear them saying, reach out and touch somebody's hand. Make this world a better place. Here's to the lady. Ladies and gentlemen, I salute our straw vendors. God bless you.